Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Stephen A. Smith, Kellerman. Hi, guys. How we feeling?
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
How about this crowd?
This crowd is live.
Right?
This crowd is live.
I feel energized. I haven't even had my caffeine yet, and I'm ready to go.
Feels like home, y'all. Feels like home. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Ready to talk some hoops?
Every day.
Okay, let's do it. So the Pelicans head into the All-Star break with a win, but lost Anthony Davis late in the first half. Davis did not return to the bench after halftime and left Smoothie King center with agent Rich Paul to get an MRI, which revealed a shoulder contusion. After the game, Alvin Gentry didn't sound like a coach who just won.
Don't know if he left the building or not. I have no idea. And then he left the building. I'm happy for the guys that that played the game and we won. To tell you the truth, this whole thing has been a dumpster fire, and it's just hard, for guys. We want guys to be professional and we want them to do this, but it's hard for guys, to go through what they've been through. Hey guys, I'm going to talk about the guys that played. They did a great job. We found a way to win the game. That's what's important.
Stephen A.
Yep.
Alvin Gentry says the Pelicans are a dumpster fire. Who messed this up?
I think Rich Paul and Anthony Davis and Clutch Sports messed it up. Listen, the Pelicans, we can say what we want to say, but in the end, what it comes down to is that they should have made it very, very clear from this summer they wanted out. And I'm not going to say Rich Paul as much as I'm going to say Anthony Davis, because Rich Paul and Clutch Sports wanted to make it very clear publicly to everybody that Anthony Davis wanted out. Now, they weren't able to get him until the season began, like the fall, October, November, somewhere around that. Had it been official and they had him in the summertime, then obviously it's something that they would have pushed to do. But Anthony Davis procrastinated with the changing of the ages, knowing that he wanted to change. He procrastinated and waited. Then when he waited, he procrastinated in terms of giving them the license and the okay to go out there and publicly state that he wanted out. He wanted to be traded. So this is more on Anthony Davis than it is on Rich Paul or Clutch Sports or anything. But since they all lumped in the family, you got there's only two sides here. It ain't Anthony Davis and then Rich Paul side and the Pelican side. No, that's three sides. No, it's two. It's Anthony Davis with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, and then it's the Pelicans. And when you look at the position that they put the Pelicans in, you got Anthony Davis, Max, who is all-world, top 5 player in the world. We all know what he brings to the table. You gonna come 10 days before the trade deadline. We want out. And we want to go to L.A. No, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. Now, you can sit up there and talk about what other teams in the league are going to try to get in the way and try to derail and block the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's a legitimate argument. But in the end, what it comes down to is that when you're dealing in the world of business, all right, and you're talking about somebody's best interest and the obligation that they have to look out for themselves, you have an obligation to take that into consideration and to plan accordingly. And clearly, at least when it comes to Anthony Davis, I'm certainly not going to accuse Rich Paul of this, because the man definitely plans. He's a mastermind in that regard. But when you look at Anthony Davis, he did not plan enough. And as a result, as far as I'm concerned, they're all sullied in all of this, because the Pelicans have been put in an untenable situation, garnering the sympathy of folks league-wide. And I think it's going to be chickens coming home to roost this summer, because whatever they want done, they're going to have a very, very difficult time getting it done, because the Pelicans are not going to capitulate because of all the strife that was caused by the way things were handled leading into the trading deadline.
Two sides, right? Anthony Davis, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports. The Pelicans.
Yes.
I would say the Pelicans and haters all around the league, and that is to blame for this.
Okay.
The Pelicans and haters all over the NBA are to blame for this. Bear with me for 1 second. This is how it works, folks. You have no choice where you're drafted. You got to play for that team, right? The way the NBA works is if at any point in your career you want to play for another team, you got to lose tremendous amounts of money if you're a max player, right? So you got to lose tens of millions of dollars. That's why you see when a top draft pick goes somewhere, they stay there for the first 7 years. After which you are an unrestricted free agent. You're set. You've made your money. Now you can leave. But If you leave $80 million on the table if you leave. Now, if you can force your way in a trade to the team you want to eventually play for, then you only leave like $30 million or $40 million on the table. So you still got to lose money, understand? Because you can't get the original max contract extension with the same team. But now you don't lose as much money and you get to play where you want. So this is what agents and players do. After 5.5 years, going into the 6th year, they let the team know, look, if they don't want to play in that market, I want to be traded here. And sometimes they have a list, here, here, and here. In AD's case, it's pretty clear he wants to play for the Lakers, right? So he says, that's the right thing to do because you're telling the team, let's make a compromise. I'm not going to lose as much money if you trade me to the team I want to play for, but in return, you're not left holding the bag. You're going to get a good trade from me. You're going to get, maybe not exactly equal value, but you're going to get a lot of stuff. Like the Lakers offered them every asset they had, every good young player they had, whatever you think of those players, and 2 first-round picks. They gave them everything, and the Pelicans simply said, no, on principle, we're hating on the Lakers and on Anthony Davis. And I think also the league wants to send a message to the players, you have no choice where you play. If you really want to play in your preferred market, you lose your $80 million. Now, who's that on? Is that on Anthony Davis and Rich Paul, or is that on the Pelicans?
Hold up. What if the Pelicans just don't want that deal? What if they don't want all the Lakers assets?
That's one point. The other point is, I can't believe I'm telling you to calm down and not be so emotional, Max Kellerman. I can't believe it's me telling this to you. But let's recognize what business is about. Listen, if you talk to Rich Paul, I assure you, Rich Paul doesn't believe he mishandled the damn thing. Rich Paul's mentality is this. I know this because I spoke to him. Here's the situation. You know what? We wanted to handle this behind closed doors. We wanted to handle this privately. But what you have is a situation, if I'm going to Dell Demps, and I'm talking to Dell Demps, but Dell Demps is trying to communicate with my athlete directly, and it's behind my back, then I have to worry about what message is he really sending to the organization. Therefore, I'm compelled to publicize it. That would be clutch sports argument, which I respect. The problem is you're dealing with the league with residue from years ago, whether it's LeBron James, whether it's Carmelo Anthony, whether it's CP3 and others who were perceived, and not against LeBron James because he was a free agent, but others perceived as forcing their way out of situations. When you have something like that going on, regardless of how right you are emotionally, pragmatically, and practically, what's going to be the residue from that is people lining up to go against you. And in this case with Anthony Davis, who wants to go to LA, who would have to wait until 2020, you're going to have your
In other words, stay in your place, workers, right? Like, even though you have a union and you guys are our business partners, and when it comes to business, we get to play that way. You don't. God forbid Chris Paul and LeBron James and Anthony Davis and the best players in the world ever decide that they'd like to play in their preferred market after 7 years with a team that they did not choose. God forbid. They should have to lose $80 million to do that.
Here's why I'm laughing. Oh my God, the person that cuts the check for you, the cash, has a temerity and unmitigated goal to think they're the boss. Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen next. What's the thing like that?
Guys, this was too big.
No. They are interchangeable. They all would sign the exact same check. They are actually meaningless. And the point is, if anyone put their team up for sale, there'd be a line around the block.
All right, Charlotte, to be continued.